Hello, I'm State Representative Janine Nodder, and you're watching Chattin' with Janine. I was first elected in the year 2010. It was a wave year. We had a supermajority in the House, and one of the freshman legislators is now a state senator. And he's my guest this week. Welcome, Senator Kevin Avard.
I really appreciate you having me, Janine. Thank you.
I'm really excited that you're here because, you know, back when we were freshmen, there was an incident in the paper about a woman who was raising Quaker parrots, also known as monk parakeets. And somebody told her that they were illegal. So she called the Department of Fish and Game and to make an inquiry. Are Quaker parrots illegal? They said, yes, ma'am. She hung up the phone. Well, a few days later, there was a knock at her door. Lo and behold, there's the Department of Fish and Game finding out about the parrots. So what is this about the Quaker parrots? Well, she was raising them because she didn't know they were illegal. Nobody knew that they were illegal. And there were stores selling them in New Hampshire for 20 years. Didn't know that they were breaking the law. And our mutual friend of ours, the former state representative Lynette Peterson, and I, and also former rep Bob Healy, he's the current one, Bob LaRue, helped me. We were scrolling and scrolling forever trying to find when a bill was passed to make Quaker parrots illegal. Never found it. Found a lot of bills that come up year after year, but never that. And found out it was a rule put in place by the Department of Fish and Game.
Which has the force and effective force of law.
Yes.
Yep.
So all the bills had already been drafted and put in. The first step was I had to go before, because obviously we wanted to change the law, go before the Rules Committee. Were you with me that day?
Yes, I was.
Okay, we went to the Rules Committee. Oh, yes, it is. So we're going to talk about the book. And I had to ask if we could put in a late bill. And it was all but one. There was one Democrat. She put her glass like this and looked at me and said no. And I will never forget that. She's still a rep. So you were a co-sponsor. And we had to jump through hoops to get the bill passed. But we did. And it was a great day for New Hampshire. And here it is. Here's the book.
Yeah, the Quaker parrot who changed New Hampshire by law. And the nice thing about the book is somebody had an issue. Somebody had a dilemma, and it really wasn't a law, it was a rule, but it had the force and effect of law. They didn't know where to turn. They turned to you. You brought the bill in, and there were my colleague, Senator Birdsell.
Yes, Birdsell.
Birdsell.
She was a co-sponsor.
She's a senator from Derry, and she was
a
also
freshman rep with us.
Yeah, we had a lot of good reps, and really I think the spirit of the day back then was really being a voice for the people. And I think that carried through. I mean, we had different committees that tried to trumpet, being a voice for the people. And as a state rep, I think you're more of the Navy SEALs of the House of representative, because you're closer to a smaller group of people, 3,000 people, 3,500 or so, and you really are nose to nose with them. You're right there for them, whereas the senator is about 60,000. And so we knew what, Ward 1, I was a Ward 1 rep, you were in Merrimack, and we have a closer connection to our wards, and that person reached out to you and asked for help. And so by doing the research, you were like right there in the grounds doing what you signed up to do, being a representative of the people and their voice. And sometimes they run across situations where, what am I going to do? And you had an answer. Well, the only answer is we can't change the rules. We have to make a law.
Right. And we had to first get permission to put in a late bill, which we did. Right. And then it went before the Committee of Fish and Game. Did you just lose your mic? Yeah, you did lose your mic. Right.
I just lost my mic, and I'm going to put it right back on here. But yeah, and so I'm chair of rules, and sometimes late bills come in, and they have to actually go before our committee as well. So the House does the same procedure. Yeah.
So the Committee of Fish and Game, they actually didn't want to pass the bill as it was. They wanted to amend it so that the existing Quaker parrots in New Hampshire, people would be allowed to keep them, but they weren't going to let the businesses sell them anymore. Right. And the owner of one of the bird shops in Nashua turned to me and said, this is our livelihood. Right. These birds are very popular. And through this legislation, we learned so much about these birds. Now, they're one of the top 10 talking birds in the world. And I had a Quaker parrot, and it looked just like this. So his name was Oscar. This looks like Oscar. And he would tilt his little head and say, hello, hello. Especially when we had food, she'd creep forward, hello, hello, until we give her some. And Oscar said a lot of things. I remember you coming to my house because you also have a business where you clean carpets, and the bird scared you.
Very loud, very, very, very loud.
Well, she also knew the words of I don't know, somebody in my house watched scary movies with the bird, and she knew the words to an exorcism.
Uh-oh. Oh, that's scary.
Yeah, she did. That's what you said. Ooh, that's scary. So I don't know if you remember.
But yeah, so the book basically, I took the story, I took a little bit of liberty with it. I even changed the bill number on the title.
Yeah, some things are different.
So, but we named one of our individuals Jen, the short for Janine. So I put you in there because you are the representative. So we kind of made you.
I've always wanted to be a cartoon. I don't know if you knew that, but I'm so excited I'm a cartoon.
You're part of the cartoon.
And here, I like this page because we're both in this picture, and that looks just like you.
Yeah.
And I actually had glasses that looked like that, which I was really impressed that you remembered.
Yeah. And the whole idea really is that you went to bat for them, and you didn't take no for an answer. And Fish and Game, they didn't want to have to enforce it, but they were forced to. So we came up with a story just to show how the process is done, so that the 4th and 5th graders, when they come to visit us at the Capitol, we could share. From what I understand, you've been sharing this story with them for a while.
Oh, yes, I have.
Yeah.
Not always, not every class.
But it gives them the idea that we're not untouchable, we're not far off, but we're very approachable. And if you have a situation or an idea that you want represented, how do you make it turn into a law? And that's kind of what this book does. It puts it in an easy form and how the process happened.
And the star of the book is Oscar the bird.
Yeah, and it shows the different departments. It talks a little bit about the rules. It talks about your state representatives. It talks about going to committee and that whole process. Some a little bit of discouragement, but don't give up. And then it talks about how going to the House for a vote, and it shows the kids just one way a bill gets done. And
it's a fun bill.
This
was a fun bill.
It was a fun bill, and we had. We didn't know if it was going to pass, did we?
No, we didn't, because the amendment was very concerning, because the committee had sent it to the floor with that amendment that it would just grandfather the existing birds, so Oscar's life would be saved, but the businesses would no longer be able to sell their, what they make a living off of.
Right. Yeah.
Which was unfortunate.
And it doesn't talk about the businesses. It basically talks about the process and about Jen basically, being able to breed the birds. And Jen had a nasty neighbor.
Yeah, didn't like the birds.
No, she didn't like the noise, and so she complained. And the book tells you a little bit about that. But I think the whole idea is that when you have an issue, you have a state representative that will go to bat for you. And if they believe in you, like you did for your client or the person you brought the bill in, it's amazing to see how the process worked. And that was made a really big impression, even on my mind as a freshman. We accomplished something. I was fortunate to be a co-sponsor, and I was there. And seeing how the process was done and being a voice for the people is really, really, and I don't ever want to lose sight of that. That's what we're there for. When the kids come to the Capitol, I sing a song to them.
Yes, you do. I was in the gallery when you had some 4th graders in, and you said, I'm thinking of a word, a 3-letter word when you want to get somebody's attention. And I was up in the gallery and I said, hey!
Hey, that's right. And that whole idea is, I want your attention. And I let the kids know that they're the boss. I'm the servant. And if they want to get my attention, we say the word hey, right? I mean, that means I just want your attention. So we wrote the New Hampshire Capitol song.
Yeah, and by the singing senator. Senator Avard is the singing senator.
And that's on YouTube, and it's free. It's just so that when the kids come and they're sitting at the table and you see them doing this, it's like they're bored out of their minds sometimes, but we have great tourists, but sometimes you'll see 1 or 2 kids just, you bring out the guitar.
You get them engaged, and they're part of and they sing along with you.
Yeah, and they get a copy of the song, And the whole idea is they understand that they're important. They're like a piece of the puzzle. Everybody's got a thumb.
And the kids always have ideas for bills.
They do.
I mean, I was
Oh my
telling
gosh,
the
yeah.
group this morning, the group of kids that, I mean, all the kids, they come in, they all have a bill, and we can't pass all these bills. I mean, if we did, we would have a state shoe, we'd have a state sock, we'd have a state hot dog, state tie, state fingernail, state everything, because they have no end to their imagination of a state this, state that. You can't pass all these bills.
Right. Yeah. And one of the things that I talk to them a little bit about is the fact that, you might have an opinion on something, and everybody in the room might have a different opinion. Does that mean your opinion isn't worth anything? No. You have a thumb, and it's like a piece of a puzzle. No puzzle is the same. But if there's one piece missing, that conversation isn't complete. And so you're just as important as everybody else in this conversation, everybody in that puzzle piece, in that puzzle. If there's one piece missing, that conversation isn't complete. And your opinion is valuable because there's nobody in the world like you. They have to know that, because sometimes the crowd drowns you out. The crowd can drown out a one dissenter. Well, you're just as important as everybody else in this room. That's the message that I try to get across to them. And I'm your representative. And if you have an idea, come to me. Send me a letter, But that's what we're here for. You're the boss. I'm the servant. I don't ever want to lose sight of that. And that's what this whole book is about. And really,
I'm really proud of you for putting this book together. And
you did it. You did it. It was.
I know.
Something.
I'm in the book. I mean, this is like really, really exciting that I'm in the book, and I'm a cartoon, and I love it.
Yeah.
So, I want to know about your illustrators. There's beautiful pictures, and there's the State House on the back.
Chloe, I haven't met her. I put out a call to a bunch of homeschoolers, and she was a homeschooler, part of a network of homeschoolers, and she's now in college. She goes to Gordon College. And Chloe, a whole bunch of people sent me some, pictures, and there were a lot of nice pictures, and her price was right. But she did a great job, and she earned some nice money for college. And she was Johnny on the spot when it came to, all right, here's the story, here's what I want. And every other day she would read a chapter, and she would draw the pictures while she's doing her college stuff. And she did an amazing job. She's got a great work ethic, and I wish her well. But Chloe Simmons, and she's at Gordon College. I believe that's in Massachusetts somewhere. And she illustrated it. And then the editor was Kathy Cardone Holmes. And years and years ago, her sister did some artwork for me. And I just out of the blue, just met her in the hall, and she did all the editing for me. I'm a little dyslexic, so I misspell words pretty easily, and I'm not the greatest when it comes to writing. But Kathy helped me out with the editing part of that, and with that little team, we got everything done. And my nephew at Portsmouth Printing, he printed it for me.
Oh, okay.
So we had a whole bunch
awesome.
of people engaged in this,
Yeah.
and it's fun. So
it takes a lot to make a book. It takes a lot to make a law.
Yeah.
I have some pictures that we could share with the audience.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
That's a page from my scrapbook, because before your book went to print, you sent me some pictures. So the one on the bottom left, I see the space underneath is where I wrote things
the
down.
bottom
in the
left
scrapbook.
is that's where you and I are having a conversation.
And that looks just like you.
Yeah.
Then my green jacket, Janine Green. My
Yep.
signs are green, so
You
I
wore
wore
green.
green.
That-
I did.
that's
I
right.
wore green. I wore a very bright green jacket to the hearings and also on the House floor. And when it came after I made my speech, I said, "Please press the green button for ought to pass."
Yes.
Spoken like a true little Quaker.
Yeah.
Ought to
And,
pass. And
yeah.
there he is, little Oscar, and he won. He gets to live, and he gets to be
live,
sold in
he
New
gets to
Hampshire.
stay in his home, and she really captured that moment. And of course, the bird. Yeah, that's the inside of the page. So that just says it was.
That's
written.
your thumb there. I kind of
Yeah, that's my
a little
thumb
bit of
on
a
that.
thumb there on the.
But it's yeah, Chloe did a really good job illustrating that, and I'm just so proud and just very fortunate that she was able to do that, and I can't wait for the next book.
Now we also have a picture of the docket because this is all the steps that had to be taken
Yep.
for in order for this bill to pass, and it was actually House Bill 651 from 2011. You know, in the book it has a different number, but that's okay. But if somebody wanted to look it up, House Bill 651 from 2011.
Yep.
And first we had to go to the Rules Committee. Then it went to the committee hearing. We had maybe even 2 hearings. I don't remember. Went to the House floor, passed the House, and then it went to the Senate, passed the Senate. And
Yep.
Senator, well, she was a representative then, Regina Birdsell was there. I think she also wore green. And Speck Bowers, Representative Speck Bowers was
yeah.
And one of the senators said, wait, your name is Birdsell?
Yeah, and then somebody said something about the paratroopers.
And oh my gosh, Senator. So the chairman of Fish and Game, he died. He just died recently, Gary Hopper.
Yeah.
I went to the wake. And,
Yeah.
Gary Hopper got up to the well. I don't even remember what he said, but
Something about the
Parrot troopers. And so the Parrot trooper joke went all through the house. I heard, you probably remember some of these jokes, Quaker pot pie. I've heard so many Quaker parrot jokes.
But you know what? Along with that, there was a collegial back and forth. Yes, oh really? You know, it was like some people were taking it seriously, some people weren't, and there was a lot of pleading. We talked with the Fish and Game privately. I mean, that's not even in the docket. You know, it's just
right.
So
yeah,
there's a lot of not necessarily negotiations, but a lot of discussions that go on. There's an art to moving something forward. There's definitely a give and take, but we don't get paid for this,
No.
unlike real politicians.
Mm-hmm. Well, we're real politicians. We just don't get paid.
We don't get paid, yeah, but I think more public service is really what we are.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's how I like to identify, because we're not getting, you know, the bread for it. You know, we're doing it because we love our communities, we love our people,
Mm-hmm.
and we want to make sure that we do a good job for them. And but that whole negotiation that goes back and forth, and I don't know which senator I was talking to. I don't know if it was Ray White or.
Oh yeah, Senator Wainwright.
Yeah.
Yes.
They had to vote for it, you know, and I don't know if they were taking it seriously, but they maybe they just humored us, but.
Like whatever. Oh, it's
thing
for
is,
the birds.
People were able to stay in business. The birds would be able to stay here, especially seeing how a whole bunch of people had them. So, including yourself.
The day that this bill passed the House, there was a contentious bill that was coming up,
Which set
and
the tone.
Gallery was full.
Oh,
it was full of people that were not happy because they didn't like the contentious bill. And somebody up there, Kevin Smith, was also in the gallery that day. He ran for governor. He's the town manager, I think, for Londonderry. And he told me later that somebody was on their phone. They were making all these little parrot noises the whole time.
No.
And they were like not happy up there. Like, we have to sit through. Really, we have to sit through a bird bill. It was also the year we got Ward Bird out of jail. Remember, Ward Bird went to jail for showing a weapon when somebody was trespassing on his property.
Yep.
So we got Ward Bird out, and then my speech began with the words, "Well, I guess this is the year for bird legislation," and then everybody laughed.
It does set because if there's a bad spirit in the air, and that can easily happen in the House, I mean, that could crush the next bill. You know, so you got to really lighten up the
united
atmosphere.
the House, this bill, and
kinda,
you know, and Gary went, along with Gary Hopper, who was the chairman of Fish and Game, with the amendment, but but he was a good guy.
Oh, he was
He
definitely
really was a
good. He
good
was
guy.
very, very fair.
And he got an award from the speaker at the end of the term for the Best Parrot Trooper Award. Yeah.
Yeah.
And on our reps page, somebody posted a picture of a green Glock and said it was standard issue for parrot troopers.
He had a good sense of humor. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I appreciate you having me on the show to talk a little bit about it. It is at the Visitor Center. It's basically it's.
I can't wait to show the kids when they come to visit at the State House. I love the pictures. Love all the little parrots. We learned so much about the Quaker parrots during stuff I didn't even know. There's even the president of the Quaker Parrot Society, which I didn't even know there was one. She came from Vermont. So
Really?
this lady who lives upside down
Yeah.
came over here to New Hampshire.
Yes. Upside down.
And she told us how they live. They live as a family. They all have jobs. Some have the job of taking care of the babies. Some gather the food. Some build the nests. My bird obviously was not a builder because she tried to make it. Didn't work.
She's a communicator.
Yeah. I don't know whether Oscar was a he or a she, actually. We always said she, but I think Oscar was a he. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
The point was learning about the birds. They would not survive if they got loose, because the whole reason for the Department of Fish and Game to ban Quaker parrots was because in another state they built a big nest on the power lines and it started a fire.
Yeah.
So they said, no, you don't want these birds here. But then we learned through all this that the Audubon Society, who've been tracking birds for 100 years, had never seen a Quaker parrot in the wild in New Hampshire.
Nope.
There's never been a problem, and if they do escape, they're going to get eaten by a predator.
And there's plenty of them out there.
An owl. There was just a. I think I sent it to you. A story recently of an owl trying to get into a house to get the Quaker parrot.
Well, they're now legal in New Hampshire, and thanks to you and all your efforts. And so, yeah, we wrote a book, and hopefully the kids can benefit from this. And you know, if they do have an idea, or if they want to know how the process
works. So yeah, because when we were kids, I think we were around the same age, we had the Saturday morning cartoons.
Conjunction, junction, what's your function?
And I'm just a bill.
And I'm just a bill on Capitol Hill. Those were, and
that's how we learned how the bill becomes a law. Now today's kids can read this book.
Yeah, yeah, and that's, you know, we'll have other ones coming up too. I think right now I'm working on to get a pier built at Hampton Beach for the handicapped, and it's kind of having the same kind of.
Oh yeah, we talked about that. Yes.
Yeah. We want to make sure that you know, individuals that are in wheelchairs and that are really, you know, they can't get on the ocean floor like we can, or at the beach, and so if they can wheel out and just maybe drop a line, I think it would be a nice idea for them. I think it's one of those things that'll also draw people to New Hampshire. But so often you'll see people in the wheelchairs on the boardwalk, but not on the, we don't have a pier, so they can't get closer to the water. So this is for, you know, the seniors and for individuals that have a hard time, you know, walking in sand and stuff like that. If they could just go out and enjoy the water like the rest of us can. I'm hoping. We've already got, we got it passed. We got certain portions of it passed, but if we ever get it done, then we'll write a story a little bit about that and that process, because it's not easy. Mm-hmm. You have a lot of people to convince, and you know, there's money involved, and
and it takes a long time. And some people don't understand that. Like, they want action now. Do it now. Yeah. Like, okay, for Merrimack, I live in Merrimack. PFAS was an issue, and a lot of people think that nothing happened until certain individuals got elected, but that's not true. We were working on it. It just takes time, and we didn't have all the facts.
Right.
So
yeah, and sometimes it does take a couple of terms, you know, because you have turnover, and then you have to re-educate individuals on, you know, the history. You say something went to a study, this is the result of the study. All right, so what did you find out? And so then you have to draft another bill, and then you have to go forward with that. And then there's some people that just walk into the conversation. Some people feel as though they know it all. Some people don't know it all, and you got to bring them along the history of what was going on all this time. Public doesn't see all that.
Right, and we've even been shouted out in front of the State House from individuals who wanted us to do something immediately on a certain issue. Yeah. And it's like, well, we are bound by policy and procedure. We can't, what do you want us to do? They really thought that we could just waltz in somewhere and stop whatever it was.
Yeah, and we're not lawyers. We don't make law. We make laws, but we can't, we're not judges, so we can't enforce the law. We're there to represent the people, to make a law, and then the executive branch enforces the law after they've signed it into law. But nothing happens immediate, and we're your voice, and we can talk to the commissioners and directors of departments, and they listen. You know, sometimes they're slow to listen, and maybe they don't agree with you, and they take their time to get on a particular issue, but we're there to make sure they do. You know, and we definitely can do that. But water is a real big concern.
It's never going away. But I heard that the budget is in the budget. There's a lot of things that are good for Merrimack in the budget.
Yeah.
So, oh gosh, and then there's other things in the budget that are not they're not good at it. But that's the way budgets are, and I don't know what's going to happen when we vote on that.
No, there'll be a lot of give and take, and of course there'll be a lot of community conferences and things. So you know, that's what that's what a split house does. You know, but you know, iron sharpens iron. So I'm sure that some people will benefit.
Yeah.
Hopefully, the communities get cleaner water. Definitely an issue. I know Senator Waters and I worked on one.
Oh, see, we had Birdsell for the bird bill, and you've got Senator Waters for the water bill. How about that?
Bill. He's great. And you know who his nephew is?
No.
Jesse Waters on Fox News.
Oh, really?
Polar opposites, but you know, they're good family, good friends. But
we're just about out of time.
Yeah.
Wow,
well,
that went by so fast.
Well, thank you for having me, and they can get the book at. You
got to sign the book.
Yeah, I'll definitely.
Yeah.
sign
You
it.
can't. We can't sell on TV.
No, we're not.
There's no profit. You're not even getting a profit for
No,
this.
definitely not.
Wow.
No, this is really just so that kids can have a something to read when they come to the Capitol.
And then they can come and say, "Hey, you're that cartoon I saw on."
That's right. That's right. And she's wearing the green jacket.
Yep.
So I'll sign this for you.
All right. Oh, now I'm going to say thank you once again for
Thank
being
you.
on the show. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, you can contact us. Or just go to New Hampshire General Court and follow the guide and you'll get our addresses and phone numbers and can answer any questions you have.